Sorry, I should have done that before I came out here.
The president said today that the Armenia genocide resolution was not the right response to the historic mass killings. What does he consider to be the correct response?
One of the things the president has done every year since he got here is issue a presidential message. This year, it was on April 24th, 2007, and one of the things the president said in it, and I quote, is that I join my fellow Americans and Armenian people around the world in commemorating this tragedy and honoring the memory of the innocent lives that were taken. The world must never forget this painful chapter of its history. The statement is much longer than that, but the president believes that that is the way to deal with this historic, tragic situation.
What does he think, in real terms, the consequences of passing the resolution would be?
Well, we've obviously heard from the Turkish government over time that they do not want to see this resolution passed in the House of Representatives. It's come up over the years. But also, right now, we have 160,000 of our troops in harm's way in Iraq, and Turkey has been a very valuable ally, and their strong reaction, negative reaction about this resolution is what caused the president to come out today and ask members of Congress to oppose it.
What do we think that Turkey will do?
Well, I think that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to comment on it and refer you to the Turks for any comment that they want to make on it. I just know that Secretary Rice and Secretary Gates felt strongly enough after hearing from their commanders on the ground that they needed to go and make a public statement asking Congress to oppose it.
Is Turkey blackmailing the United States?
Absolutely not. I think that they've made their position very clear over the years.
They know their role in the United States war on terror, and they're saying, don't do this. What else are you supposed to make of it?
Well, I think that they are making their points clear, just like we make our points clear to other governments as well. And we do believe that the Turks and the Armenians should have a discussion and work this out amongst themselves, and they are having discussions. We've encouraged those, and I think that's where it is best dealt with. The United States House of Representatives has a lot of business before it. There's a lot of work that they could be doing rather than this.
In February of 2000, candidate George Bush, according to the Armenian National Committee, said the following. Candidate Bush said, Armenians were subjected to a genocidal campaign that defies comprehension. They say he has broken his promise to label the atrocities as genocide when he became president. What's changed since 2000?
The president believes that the proper way to address this issue and express our feelings about it is through the presidential message and not through legislation, and that was what he was describing today.
But he does consider it genocide and called it that in the year 2000.
I didn't read all of the president's messages over the past 7 years, but I would refer you to those.
Is it just the word genocide that he does not want applied to it now?
What he wants is for the presidential message to be the thing that stands for the American response to this, not legislation passed by the House of Representatives.
Touching base on FISA, the president said even though the bill currently before Congress isn't finalized, he was concerned, and he said there are deficiencies in it. Is there some specifics that you want to point out?
Sure, there's a couple of things. First of all, the law that the Congress passed last August put a 6-month sunset on the bill. The president has said one of the things he has to have is permanency. You want the intelligence community to know that they're going to have these tools and the flexibility they need to protect the country. This bill that the Democrats have put forward only gives you a 1-year extension. Actually, I think it goes through December 2009. That is not permanent, and this is a debate that the president thinks we should settle here and now. And in another case, it does seem to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back, injecting the court into the application process even further than they already are, which the individuals that are looking at this legislation say is very burdensome and is actually putting us back into the box that we were in, is that making the process so slow that you're not able to deal with the urgency of the threats.
They're still going to look at procedures. They're not going through and issuing individual warrants. So what's so burdensome about the FISA court looking at the procedures that are being applied?
Well, what I can tell you is that experts in the field of intelligence, lawyers, have been looking at this legislation proposed by the Democrats. They've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. They say it will not work. I think there's a lot more involvement. It's much more strict and much more cumbersome in the legislation that the Democrats have put forward. And the president's going to have one test for the Director of National Intelligence. He'll ask him does this bill meet the criteria that you need in order to keep the country safe? And if it does not, then the president won't sign it. If it does, he will. There is also another piece of it which the bill does not take into account, which is the president has asked for legal protections for those companies who are believed to have helped the nation after September 11th. And he wants retroactive liability protection from civil lawsuits for those companies. So those are just three of the areas that the president would like to see changed in this bill.
But if I could follow, critics would argue that the privacy of some Americans perhaps was compromised in the days after 9/11, and therefore we want to be careful about how far we extend this sort of thing.
The president has taken very seriously the issues of how do you protect the country as well as preserve the civil liberties of Americans. And it's not just the president that's taken it very seriously, but everyone in the administration, including the intelligence community. The civil liberties are protected. They were protected prior to the Protect America Act. They're protected in the Protect America Act. And going forward, I'm positive that when the president signs the bill, that civil liberties will be preserved as well.
Back on Turkey.
Okay.
Turkey's prime minister today confirmed that his government is drawing up plans to authorize military incursion into northern Iraq to go after the Kurdish rebels. Would the United States support that type of operation?
We have said that we want to work with the Turkish government and the Iraqi government, to eradicate the terrorist problem there in northern Iraq. We do not think that it would be the best place for troops to go into Iraq from Turkey at this time. We think that we can handle this situation without that being necessary.
Back on Turkey and the PKK, the State Department concedes the recent cross-border attacks by the PKK. Members of the Turkish parliament say what they want to do is simply apply the president's policies of fighting terrorism. Mr. Bush, of course, has said that he is fighting the terrorists in Iraq so that we don't have to fight them here. They say, likewise, they want to fight the PKK in Iraq so they don't have to fight them in Turkey. So why are they wrong?
What we are saying is that we think that we can help them along with the Iraqis who are committed to eradicating terrorism as well. And that includes the PKK, not just al-Qaeda. Helen.
Does the president view the Lieberman-Kyle resolution as an invitation to attack Iran?
I am not familiar with the Lieberman-Kyle resolution, so can I...
The resolution condemning the Revolutionary Guard as terrorists.
I'll have to look into it and get back to you. I don't know about it.